Good, okay. So we will resume item 3B, which is the June 4th regular meeting minutes. So again, if there's no other discussion, then we'd like to entertain a motion to approve the June 4th regular meeting minutes.
So move.
All right, let the record reflect. Motion to approve by Commissioner Meyer. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Blunt. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. No opposition, the ayes have it. So the June 4th regular session meetings have been approved. So with that, we will move to item number 4, organizational and procedural items. Staff, I'm not aware of anything for that. I don't know if you guys have anything that you need to bring to our attention for item 4 on the agenda. Again, it's organizational and procedural items.
So I believe that's where you state the house rules as far as how to conduct the meeting.
Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure that you guys didn't have anything that maybe came up last minute before I do that.
No.
Okay, perfect. Ooh. Okay, so with that, before we move into unfinished and new business, again, we want to make sure that things are conducted in a fair, efficient, in a quality manner. So what I'd like to do is just basically go over what we deem as house rules to make sure that everyone knows and understands the rules of engagement. That way there's no surprises. There's nothing that comes as a shock to anyone. So as we move through this, each case is going to be called in numerical order. When the case is called, we ask that the applicant please stand or here. At that point, we will call to see if there's anyone opposed to the case. We'd ask that if there's anyone that's opposed to the case, please stand or raise your hand so that you be counted for the record, and we'll do the same for anyone that is in support of the case. The applicant will go first, and then if there's any opposition, we'll go after the applicant, or I should say anyone in support of or in opposition to. So each side, both in support of or opposition to, will get 10 minutes to state their case or concerns. There will be no during this particular period, so please make sure that you convey all of your information to the Planning Commission within your 10 minutes. Additionally, we'd like to throw this out here that if there's more than one person that wants to speak in support of or opposition to, it may be wise for you guys to kind of coordinate amongst yourselves because you have 10 minutes as a whole and not 10 minutes apiece. Okay? And that's to make sure that you're really hitting on the same topics, unless that's what you want to do. It's totally up to you. After both sides have had their 10 minutes to plead their case or state their support or opposition, the Planning Commission will discuss the case. And if there's a need to call the applicant back, we will ask that you step back to the podium. After that, again, we will continue to discuss the case and we will render a recommendation. That word is very key. As a Planning Commission, we are not the final arbiter. We don't have the final say. We simply make a recommendation to the mayor and council. At that point, they will make the final decision. Excuse me. And also, as a matter of housekeeping, I know we all have cell phones, so we kindly and respectfully ask that you turn your cell phones off or put them on mute, simply because given the size of the room and the size of the meeting, cell phones that are distracting. Also, any side conversations, we ask that either one, you don't have them or limit them, or if you need to have them, please step outside in the lobby to the rear and have those conversations and keep it at the walls are paper thin so we can hear. And again, that is to the Planning Commission and also if there is anyone that has made any political contributions to to city council and mayor, we would ask that just so that way that is reflected in the record. Now that you guys have heard the rules of engagement, you understand how this is going to go. So we hopefully will have a smooth process here. So from that, We can move to item number 5 on the agenda, unfinished business, TLUP 2026-001. Mike's not on.
Good evening, planning commissioners. My name is Sunday Odudu. I'm the senior planner of the city of city of Mableton. Just kept on with bad manners. So for this case, the applicant has shown interest to withdraw his case, but on to date, he hasn't submitted an official letter of withdrawal, and we kept the case on the agenda because the applicant hasn't submitted an official letter or sent an email officially showing an interest to withdraw his case. But he has actually come to our office and verbally told us he's willing to withdraw his case till further notice.
So since he has not formally case,
Planning commissioners, you can recommend a dismissal of the case pending that. City mayor and council have the final say when it comes to this. You can recommend it.
okay. I know this case, there was some issues with regards to public notice. And I think this is kind of continued to come up over the course of several months. The planning commission, first I'll open it up for any discussion, because we can, as been stated, we can recommend that it be dismissed. So I think is there, and I'll ask this question, is there the option to defer?
I believe you have the option to defer.
Okay. And this is dismissed. Will it be dismissed? Yeah, with prejudice. Will they have to wait, what is it, a year before they can
Yes,
reapply?
based on the code, they'll have to wait 12 months before they can reapply.
Okay. All right, so I'll leave it open for discussion for this particular case. Again, I know this is kind of, it's been going back and forth for a few months, and I'm not sure how this is going to go, given the fact that the applicant has stated they want to withdraw, but they haven't actually withdrawn it, so.
I have no objection to that. I think it's been a month. It's been a months-long situation, and it takes up time on staff and our time as well. So if he's going to withdraw, I see no issue with us moving to dismiss it.
Okay. Any other discussion? No discussion? All right, then I'd like to make a motion to recommend dismissal of TLUP 2026-001 due to failure to publicly disclose. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll give that second to Commissioner. Any other discussion before we take a vote?
Is that dismissal with prejudice?
That would be dismissal with prejudice. Yes, dismissal with prejudice, excuse me, sorry. So that means that they would have to wait a year before they apply. So council, really quick, do I need to make the motion again and make sure to say dismissal with prejudice? Okay, all right, so I will go back to that, and I will make a motion to recommend this case be dismissed with prejudice. And do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so we have, I'm sorry. Okay, then we'll hold off on a vote, and then we'll ask if the applicant is here this evening. Is not here, and as a matter of course, since we're asking if the applicant is here, is there anyone here that wants to speak in support of this case? We have one? Okay, I'll get to that. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in support of this case, though? No one here? Anyone that wants to speak in opposition to this case? We have one. Since we do have one, you can make your way to the podium. As stated before, you'll have 10 minutes. You can use all 10, or you can, however you want to do it.
So that the applicant's not here and that you are trying to find a way to dismiss it because they aren't being compliant. Am I not? Oh, sorry. There you go. So I understand that the applicant is not here. However, this property has a very years-long history of code enforcement violations. So dismissing it with prejudice, which gives them another year to continue violating the law without any being addressed by the city, is problematic. We need to find a way to get code enforcement engaged and to move this property forward. It's far out of compliance. It's highly inappropriate, as is the property beside it. I forget if this is 71 or 75, the address, looking at the numbers, but dismissing it is not addressing and moving the city forward in a way that resolves a problematic property. So I know your powers may be limited to a degree. I would hope at a minimum that with the city here, that we could engage code enforcement to address it aggressively, because it needs to be, because it's been ignored for multiple years. And they are simply not responsible, continuing what they're doing, which they will do another year if you do this, so that they have a year before they can apply to be in conformance, which they're not going to be, because they're not. They never have been. So, thank you.
Thank you. Record, would you mind stepping back to the podium and just stating your name and your... It's no problem. That's my fault.
No, I haven't adjusted here. My name is... I don't know what zone I'm in.
Okay.
I don't know. I live around the corner.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Thank you. And how much time do we have left?
15 seconds.
Okay. So I'll make one last call. 8 minutes, 15 seconds left. Anyone that wants to speak in opposition to TLUP 2026-001, and I will pause there for a couple seconds. Okay. So there's no one else, then we will close the public hearing portion for this particular case. I will open it up for any further discussion for this case before a vote is taken.
I have a question.
Okay.
So this applicant does not have a temporary land use permit currently, correct?
Correct.
So if one is not granted, what are the next steps with code enforcement?
I think that's a question for staff.
So currently, it's a code enforcement case, and they're having their ongoing procedures with the applicant at the moment. So the zoning issue doesn't affect the code enforcement case is pending. Once he goes to court and he gets an order, then that's it. It goes from there. Tamper with code enforcement, they have their own procedures and their own processes with the court. But because we have a court system now, it's a little bit more expeditiously will take course for the case.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion, I should say? Okay. So with no further discussion, then we can entertain a motion. And we will.
We have a motion.
Yeah, we'll entertain the motion for dismissal, which means that they will not be able to apply for another 12 months. So I want to make that motion to recommend dismissal with prejudice. And do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Davis. Any other discussion?
I thought with prejudice would allow him to reapply in a year. Is it without prejudice or with prejudice?
With prejudice.
With prejudice, okay.
Yes, with prejudice. That's the law that they can do it.
Okay, so we can't.
He can't, the applicant cannot come back
Okay.
for another 12 months.
Okay.
Now, whatever happens on the code enforcement side, that has nothing to do with us. There.
we can't prevent the applicant from ever coming back to ask for a temporary. Okay.
No.
All right, I just want to make sure.
We cannot impede to apply.
Okay.
They can apply, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get the result they're looking
history
for.
of code violations and things like that. I didn't know if there was a cutoff.
Stop them from applying.
All right.
Okay, so motion was made, the second was it? Okay, no further discussion? Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. No opposition, the ayes have it. So TLUP 2026-1 has been recommended for dismissal with prejudice. So with that, we will move to item number 6A. This is new business, REZ 2026-004.
There we go. I was wondering if it was gonna work. All right, good evening, planning commissioners, and good evening, residents of the community. My name is Latima Richards. I will be the one presenting, my name is Latima Richards. I'm the city planner with the city of Mableton, and I'll be presenting the rezoning 2026-004. Applicant, Moore, next. So the applicant, Moore, Ingram, Johnson, and Steele LLP. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Sorry, the David Pearson Communities INC. Sorry, they're requesting to rezone 23.119 acres of a property that is currently zoned as R20 single family residential. C, which stands for Open Space Community or Open Space Overlay Community. They're rezoning the property, like I said, from R20 OSC to RA5 single family residential, which allows for a 7,000 square foot lot for homes. The proposed residential development will consist of a maximum of 90 homes. The 90 detached homes on a average overall density of 3.89 acres per acre, sorry. So each home will be a minimum of 1,800 square feet of heated floor space, mixed in with brick, stone, stack stone, board batten, and hardened plank, or a combination of the two. This property does have a zoning history that's associated with it. That is OSC -17, which originally allowed for 26 homes on a property, but that was when the property was originally 15 acres. So he has more acreages to the property as compared to when the original zoning petition came. So under that zoning petition, that essentially allowed for the density of at least 2 to 3 acres per parcel. And so with the RA5 zoning district, that allows for a 1 to 2 acres worth of land as far as per parcel of the units. There can be a maximum of at least 5 units, but we're looking at typically a supportive or non-supportive residential, senior residential living community. So on the zoning map where you're seeing right now is the property as I said, which is 23.119 acres. The stars indicate where exactly the proposed development would be with the 90 homes. So again, this is the future land use designation. As I said, it's allowed. You can have from 1 to 2 acres, 1 to 2 units per acre, and that if you're going up to 5, that would typically be for any residential RSL, which is a senior residential living community. Next. All right, so this is what I was saying as far as this is the original zoning petition that occurred in 2005, is the OSC 17, which allowed originally for the 26 homes. This is the, we're looking at the previous zoning petition, the previous zoning site plan that the applicant went from 94 homes to 90. So he did decrease the density by a significant amount, but we're still looking at approximately 90 homes on the subject properties. Next. And this is the addition of the 23.19119 acres. So he did remove some of the homes that were originally on Cardell Road that was proposed in his previous zoning hearing, and now he's adding some significant more homes to Cardell still as well, just further up north instead of on the adjacent property from the old Alabama Road. And again, this is the previous site plan he presented to you for the 94 homes. Yes. Yeah, sorry. So again, we're just looking at what was previously proposed from the 94 homes to what is now the 90 homes. So this is a bunch of the withdrawn site plan that he had where he revised it to just solely be 90. Next. Yeah. Right, so these are the proposed elevations. As I stated, this is where he would be using stone, stack wood, the board and batten, the hardy plank, and or a combination of the two. Next. And again, these are still some of the elevations for the proposed homes. This is what he previously proposed in his last zoning hearing. And as you can see, he increased the minimum the square footage for the floor area for the homes. All right, so this is our zoning criteria for any rezoning applications that come into the city. So as far as rezoning, planning staff does have concern as far as the amount of homes that will be proposed on Old Cardell, Maxham, and Old Alabama, because when we're looking at the future land use, again, we're looking at 1 to 2 acres. The applicant is proposing 3.89 units per acre, which does increase it by a significant amount. And the only way we are actually allowed that, like as I said, is for senior residential living communities that are non-supportive, that is up to 5 units per acre. That's normally where we allow it. And so when we're looking at the future land use designation, when it comes to an RA5 community, this is not allowed as far as the acreage, the units per acre. It's too much for the property, and so when we're looking at it as planning staff, we do recommend denial of the application just solely because of it's not compatible with the future land use designation, and it's also not compatible with the surrounding area as far as like the low density residential when we're looking at the units per acre that's allowed. But if Planning Commission does recommend approval, we do have some stipulations listed out here for Planning Commission to review. Mr. Moore also presented a letter of stipulations, agreeable letter of stipulations that is also attached to your staff report. So I'm just gonna give you guys a moment to read this, and then we'll be able to go to the next slides. And here are the letter of agreeable stipulations that was outlined by Mr. Moore as far as what he will agree to is with the stipulations. And again, the applicant is here to answer any questions that you guys may have. Therefore, that concludes my presentation, and I will be here if you guys need any questions, if you have any questions.
Thank you. So the applicant or representative of the applicant is here, Mr. Moore. Do we have anyone else here in support of this application? Okay. Let the record reflect there's no one here in support of the application. Do we have anyone here in opposition to this application? Please raise your hand. So that is 4.
There's one person in the lobby.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. So, okay, so make it 5. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have 5. And again, all 5 of you share the 10 minutes. So if you want to coordinate, that's totally up to you guys. Mr. Moore, you are free to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Planning Commissioners. I'm Kevin Moore, here on behalf of the applicant owners in this application for rezoning that was just reviewed for you by Ms. Richards. So I'm trying to not to repeat what she just went through because I find that to be very tedious. Rather, I want to highlight some reasons why we believe you should respectfully request a recommendation of approval and go through that with you. Again, we have the site plan, and I want to review some of that with you to highlight a couple of different things. Number one, what we are proposing, and number two, for those that recall when we had the prior hearing, before we withdrew and kind of reset where we wanted to be, and I can highlight those changes as well. But the plan is for a maximum number of 90 detached single-family homes at this location at Cardell, Old Alabama, and Maxham Road. The site plan now does have much more uniform lots, if you recall. The prior plans that we had reviewed with you and presented to you had different sections. We did it a couple of times where there was a smaller home product and smaller lots that were proposed, and those have been removed in full. So what we have remaining and presenting to you are the larger lots that we have presented as part of the plans originally, and that's something that we did as part of retooling this plan to resubmit for your consideration. The plan also, we wanted to make sure we captured all of the property that was involved, and so we have done that now with this application as well. The plan, again, does have the subdivision section of Old Alabama Road and Cardell, as well down to the intersection with Maxham Road. We have provided for an amenity. The plan identifies that amenity as having a cabana, but we have included in our letter that would be a clubhouse as opposed to a cabana. That was something that we had discussed previously, and we wanted to make sure that was noted because it's shown on the plan as a cabana, but that will be a clubhouse as part of this full amenity. The homes themselves, you saw the elevations, which are very attractive homes that we plan to have here at this location. Location which we think very much can support and be a very successful single-family detached subdivision. The issue I really want to kind of delve in on, and certainly I'm available for questions that you may have, but housing at this location, because one of the issues that comes up in staff's report and their remarks, something that in the prior instances when we discussed this property previously surrounded around density, and is this too much density? Does this property need to be something that's developed at less density? And so I really want to talk about that for a minute with you and hopefully just have a discussion and a conversation almost for your consideration as we look at this location. This location, if you just look at the site plan and the portion of the area map that was shown, it appears as if this property is there right on Maxham Road, adjacent to an older single-family established neighborhood. And that's true. That's not actually where the area, we believe, is really defined. This area is defined by much more. That's on one side. On the other side, at the intersection of Maxham and Old Alabama, that's a signalized intersection. Directly across that intersection that lines up is a large convenience store. Maxham Road from here, 2 blocks going further south is Thornton Road. The commercial intensity picks up dramatically going south from this intersection that is signalized. So that's where this property sits on the other side. Also, importantly, as you travel north on Maxham Road, right before it turns into Austell Road, there's a couple in residential communities that have been constructed there. One's in construction and development in terms of construction, and one has been. Maxham Farms is one, as well as Sanders Park is another, both at much higher densities than what is being proposed in terms of the plan that comes from staff's remarks. Those densities are much more in line with the densities that we are proposing here of 3.8 units per acre or more for Sanders Park. Sanders Park is, again, just north of this, also having frontage and impacted by Maxham Road, backing up to a more established, longstanding single-family detached neighborhood. Has detached homes and townhomes, has a few detached homes and townhomes there at that location. Maxham Farms, which is just north of this property, likewise was developed and built out at densities in excess of 2.5 units per acre. So that's what's occurring and has occurred in this immediate area. That's the new residential that has occurred, which would support the type of residential that we are proposing here. Because when we look at this property, and as we looked at this property, certainly the way we look at it is the property is a transition property. It sits here at the intersection of Maxham and Old Alabama, and something has to transition from the commercial nature of the convenience store and going to Thornton Road from there to the properties that are the single-family neighborhood. Something has to transition that, and that's where this property sits, and that's how oftentimes we find zoning cases at locations like this, where it's transitioning. So it needs to be something more from a density standpoint than the single-family established neighborhood, but but it's got to reflect too what is there. We don't think this property should be built with townhomes. We don't think it should be built at densities of 5 and 6 and 7 units per acre. We believe single-family detached neighborhood, though it a little bit is actually the perfect transition amongst what we are dealing with at this intersection and along this stretch of road. We also believe that at 90 homes, we can have a established homeowners association that can support the full amenity, that can support the full clubhouse, and can support a thriving community going forward. That's what we believe, and I hope that you'll believe that as well. We need to be building houses that people can attain, they can buy, and they can live in. And we need to have housing, and we need to provide that for folks out there, because we do have a shortage of housing for single-family detached housing that people want and seek. And we hope that this project will supply that in part as we continue to go through this process. We have developed a full set of stipulations, many of which contain some of the conditions that staff has recommended if you were to approve. In fact, we have 95% of our letter. And so I'm happy to address any of those specifically in response to questions. But again, it does reflect what we believe to be a quality community and one that we hope deserves your recommendation of approval to the City Council. Thank you for your time here tonight.
Thank you. How much time do we have left?
Sorry, 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
Okay. I'll ask one more time. If there's anyone else here in support of this application, you can use the remaining 2 minutes to voice your support. All right. Since there's no one else here in support of the application, the record does reflect that there are 5 members of the community here in opposition to this application. So we will open it up to opposition. You guys can choose your order. That's totally up to you, but we kindly ask.
Started off
It is not even close to what it is. I started off, it is not even close to what it is. Ironically, and I have never, maybe my first time I read from a script. I'm going to read from this because this has been so painful and so convoluted that I feel that I need to actually read, because we had to gather as a group, because keeping up with the changes has been darn near impossible. So let me just clarify. This does not align with the comp plan. It does not align with the future land use map, which is low density, 1 to 2.5 units per acre. This application does not meet the requirements for RA5, period, end of story. That states that 7,000 square feet, these lots vary between 3,500 and 9,600, where the average is 5,000. So this doesn't meet it. One thing not here that I caught is that more than 20 acres is not allowed to be in RA5. So there is no circumstance where this application meets the conditions for RA5. Period. End of story. So moving on, we obviously have concerns related to driveways on Cardell that have traffic implications. This increases the units from 2 acres per acre, 3.89. It's a massive increase. This is not simply about homes. And the key, so here's the big one. Here's the big one everyone's missing. Apparently, this is going to be 100% rental. That came out last second. Nobody knew about it. This plan is changing by the second. This plan should be denied with prejudice. We have been through this long enough with this property. It is far too dense. It is inappropriate adjacent to single-family homes. It is time to cut it and move on and come back with details, with everything that's necessary. I do not know, because I cannot find it anywhere in this application, nor in the city's information. What is because there's limitation in RA5. You cannot include the buffers. You can't buy property unattached down the road and include that in your buffers This is ridiculous. This needs to be denied. They need to stop. We need to not come back. These are neighbors who are adjacent to this in single-family homes that are R15, R20. Forgive me, I didn't catch that, which ones you're in. And they went to the meetings. None of this has been presented to them. It being 100%, we talk about a homeowners association. Are you a homeowner in a rental property? I don't remember being a homeowner when I rented apartments. So please deny this. Please deny it with prejudice. Please make them walk away, come back a year later when they fix it, they have the details, they speak to the community, and we can have something that's appropriate for this property.
Thank you. Ooh. 5 minutes and what? 46 seconds left? Okay.
My name is Robin Ford. I'm in District 5. My husband and I have lived off of Old Alabama Road, as Sonia says, adjacent to where this development would be, for over 40 years. I cannot speak any more eloquently than she did to all the technical points. I agree with everything she said. I do want to address it as someone who lives right there, goes through those intersections, has for years, and I know the impact of traffic and the fact Cardell intersection is considered very dangerous. For 7 years, I went through there twice a day going to my job in downtown Austell. People desperately are trying to get off of Cardell Road. They pull out in front of you. That's a hazard. And I know we're probably all familiar with the accidents that happen at Thornton Road and Old Alabama. It's very dangerous. I know traffic is not the only issue, though, and I do understand and respect the property owner's right to develop this property. We just simply want it to be developed in a way that is not detrimental to our community. I am strongly opposed to the fact that this has all of a sudden become 100% rental. To me, to even say that we want to create something where people can buy, which Mr. Moore said buy, that's not buying. And as Sonia said, I mean, who knows if there'll be any kind of homeowners association because there won't be any homeowners. And from what I have heard, the mayor and the city council and the representatives of the city of Mableton say is that they want to improve this community. And I feel that that is done by, even though there's a time, there's a place for rental property and a need, that is have actual ownership of property, and that would be the type of development with reduced density that would fit into the community that we've been living in for over 40 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
3 minutes, 44 seconds.
My name is Brenda Nash, and I'm in District 3, and I'm here tonight to ask you to please decline this application. Me and the majority of the citizens in Mableton are very concerned about high density that's taken place in the last year. Whereas we do understand most of these cases were approved by Cobb County before Mableton became a city, we are asking that this precedent be stopped. The primary reason we became a city was to have more local control over what's being built around our existing low-density neighborhoods. I'm not against development, as I do realize the important part of this is how important this is to our city's growth, but it needs to be done at a much lower density as to preserve more green space, leading to healthier environment where children have yards to play in and adults are not living on top of each other. Whereas they mentioned that there were neighborhoods down the street that are already at high density, we're just keeping increasing, saying, well, we got to do it because it's down the street, it's down the street. We can stop it. We can get back to a realistic number of homes around existing stable neighborhoods at lower density. I don't see why, just because you're in a transition area, you have to increase density. There's nothing here, no evidence that homes of lower density in that area. It could be, it's a possibility that people would be willing to live at a lower density area just to be able to be convenient to Torton Road into the I-20 area. So that's not, it don't have to be high density just because it's a transition area. The property should be, the homes should be affordable as they're being built in a very potential flood zone. I've seen that area flood many times. Whether or not they're going to be able to fix that problem is yet to be seen. But the land itself should be very cheap, so that should help with keeping the cost down to start with. And it seems to me that there's some confusion on the internet. There's a lot of talk about homes that being built by this developer already, and the people that bought into the neighborhoods being very confused and upset about how the homeowners associations were set up and what they were being told. So this back and forth about is it rental, is it not rental, we'll tell you before we clear the land, but go ahead and approve the zoning. This does not seem realistic to me. And finally, asking kids if you're going to put a pool on one side of a community and you've got kids that live over here on this side of the street and you're in a very busy arterial, you can't expect children to be crossing the road to get over to the pool. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. How much time do we have?
Minute, 3 seconds.
1 minute, 3 seconds?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there another person that wanted to speak in opposition? Oh, please step to the podium. And not to forget you, young lady back there, I don't know if you wanted to speak. Okay, thank you.
John Ford, I believe it's District 5. And so I just want to add a few things or observations. We're talking about that buffer zone and the amount of acreage there. Again, if you are including it in the 23 acres, then you are getting more homes per acre as opposed to the 3.89. The safety issue that she brought up, I dare say, I hate to think this way, but I believe there will be some magic that will happen in the near future if something isn't done to curtail that. I believe there's supposed to be a crosswalk with a button. I don't think that's going to help. I mean, it could help some, but I think that might be just postponing the inevitable. The fact that you have this neighborhood directly across the street coming out, and you also have, I think it's 850 cars per day, I believe was the estimate, or something of that nature, coming out of this neighborhood, then you don't, if you're not taking into account those others, the number certainly would increase dramatically. So I believe there's probably a probability of a red light that's going to have to go in right there. So just something to think about.
Thank you. Watch your step, please. Mr. Sunday, did we exhaust all 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right. One last call, well, never mind. We've exhausted 10 minutes. So with that, we can close the public comment in this particular case. As a planning commission, we can have our discussion, and if there's any questions, Mr. Moore will call you to the podium for questions. So there's, I mean, I'll kick it off. I'm sorry. I'll kick it off. There's quite a few questions, some of which were raised by the community, and I think this is a question for staff. I just want to make sure that we are very clear on something that was raised, and this is in the staff report with regards to the lot size. And so the lot size for RA5 has to be what?
7,000 square feet minimum.
And the lot sizes on this site map is what?
So it ranges 3,500 to 9,560.
Okay, and so in the staff report is saying the average lot size is approximately 5,000 square feet, therefore not meeting the minimum individual lot size.
Correct.
Okay, so as presented, the current site plan, this site plan does not meet RA5.
So there are some lots that do meet RA5 and there's some that does not. I believe the applicant submitted a variance for the lot sizes for the lots that do not meet the minimums square footage.
Idea of how many lots don't meet the square footage?
Not at this moment. I'll refer that to Mr. Moore.
Okay. All right. And so the circle is that the additional land that was purchased? Is that correct?
Correct. I believe the last meeting with the applicant, there was concerns about the open space and also the additional of cutting down trees. So the applicant, as I stated, he removed the homes that were adjacent to those properties that I just pointed to. And he allowed more open space within the development rather than building more homes on the ones that are designated as open space.
Okay, because when I look at the two site plans, I'm not seeing the homes that were removed. I'm just going back and forth between the withdrawn and the current. Are you able to point to?
So it's actually cut off.
Okay.
So go back to the withdrawn. No. It was,
So this is 68 lots,
yeah.
64, so it's at the middle.
So it's the 68
Okay,
and
so it was the interior.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw you pointing down 90, and for some reason I thought you were saying that some lots over there had been removed, and I was like, I don't remember
I
that being.
I believe the applicant had some lots that were adjacent to those. I'm not too.
I think it was more lots down there, and it was like 94, and then now we're down to 90. So okay, now I'm a bit more clear on that. What I'm also seeing, bring back to notes here. Give me just a second. There we are. So I'm looking at stormwater notes in special conditions, number 5 and number 6. There's a stormwater pond area that's shown near the southeast corner of the project, but there's no stormwater pond area for. So So stormwater their comments are, we see one detention pond. There's nothing for the north side of the project, and there are concerns about runoff from the lots captured and conveyed to the stormwater pond. And then number 6, the stormwater is speaking to how compact it is between homes, and it's about 5 feet. And they are mentioning their stormwater pipe systems. Are you familiar with that? Because 5 versus 20, that's a lot.
I am not familiar with that.
All right. Okay. Okay. But can we go back to the, I guess, number 5 on there on staff's, the stormwater comments about the detention pond?
Right. So, current site plan, as stormwater has noted, there is no detention pond for the ones that are more northern on Cardell. So I do not have a response as far as where the detention pond would typically be located. Again, I will refer the question to the applicant, Mr. Moore. He may have the answer to your question.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Moore, would you mind stepping to the podium, please? Please watch your step. I want you to follow him.
Me either.
Yeah.
Oh, it's quite all right.
So one of the comments from stormwater, number 5, they're addressing the stormwater pond or the lack thereof on the north side of the project. I don't recall seeing it in the original iteration, and I don't see anything in the current iteration. To my understanding, on the north side, if I'm not mistaken, that's more so in the floodplain. So, how is that being mitigated?
Sure. So on the north side, and when we're
Right.
talking about it, everybody can see what we're speaking of. On the north side, yes, when properties adjacent to the lane, we still have to provide for water quality as well as whether or not you have to have an actual detention pond when you're that close to floodplain becomes a storm management engineering standpoint of whether you want to hold water back or release it directly into the floodplain. So we have area there where it could be located if necessary, depending on how that engineering comes out.
Okay. I mean, and hopefully you can understand
It's a great question.
mine and really the community's reservation with regards to that, because this area is prone. And I live in my neighborhood is 76 homes, and we have 3 detention ponds in my community. So a community this size, 90, you're overlapping my community by 14, 15 homes, and there's one that gives me a little bit of heartburn when I think about what year was it? 2006, 7, 6, 7, and we had that major flood here, and it seems like that's an issue, or at least to calm the fears of, my fears, maybe someone else's on the planning commission, and even the community's fears about what happens the next time we have that 100-year flood, because they're not happening every 100 years anymore. Weather patterns are shifting, and now 100-year floods are occurring every 5 to 10 years. So, okay.
To answer that question, though, that again, where you see where it's labeled open space, if we could put a detention pond there, and it could be identified as such, but the engineering may result in the fact that the stormwater management would not want us to have a detention pond there. So it depends on how that final engineering comes out, which is further down the road. It either has to be a detention pond there for stormwater management, or it still has to have features as well. It depends on which way handles the stormwater best, and it's very detailed in the stormwater engineering of it, which I'm happy to discuss when that can occur in those conditions. But the room is definitely Stormwater's comments, that would have to be something that's reviewed with them.
Okay. And I don't want to commandeer the whole conversation, so any questions or discussion, please step forward.
Mr. Moore,
Yes, Commissioner.
first of all, I want to thank you because we have come at you with a lot of stuff, a lot of concerns, and you really have tried to address all of them from the community meeting that you had that to now reducing the density and everything. You've been putting in the effort, and we really do appreciate that. I guess my first concern is rentals. Is why rentals?
Okay. Yeah, let me qualify that and explain that. What we've done in our stipulation letter, we have a condition where we've stated that we would agree to a 10% rental limitation. However, prior to any building permits being issued, the developer would have the option to have it as 100% rental community at that point in time. So a little bit about that. The issue that really becomes damaging to a community with rental is when you have and that is when you have communities where you have investors that can go in and they can buy 4, 5, 6 groups of houses or more. And so you have a community that has some home ownership and some rental. If it's 100% owned, managed under a unified ownership, then that type of rental is rentals that are payment and provides for a great level of housing. The developer was wanting to hold that out as an option at that time to make sure that he wasn't about to build houses into a market where they wouldn't be absorbed, and perhaps that market would be better. From my perspective, with this planning commission here tonight, if the planning commission wants to make a recommendation that not be a part of it, so be it. But that's the condition that we've proffered to be able to preserve that as an economic market condition. But if that's not something that the planning commission is interested in doing, then I'm not here to promote this as a 100% rental community. What this is being intended for, ownership and home sales.
Thank you.
Sure.
How many lots are under the required?
Well, the average square footage is just right about 5,000 square feet. So you have, I can't give you the exact answer, but I would gather to say more than 50% of the lots are under 7,000 square feet. That's correct.
Okay. And is there a map that you can point to the additional land that was purchased?
Well,
I know that one, but I thought, okay, that one.
yes, so let me clarify that. It was not purchased subsequent to the initial application that had been withdrawn. Mm-hmm. That's been part of it. It just wasn't submitted initially. Okay. And so one of the things that they did was, let's make sure we have all the property that is under contract or that would, that is, this property is, that's how it comes from the owners, that those parcels was added to this refiled application.
So it wasn't purchased after the initial?
No, it's always been part of the property. It wasn't included in the initial application. That's correct.
Okay.
But staff has circled where those are.
Okay. Okay, so, and I guess some other things that I'm concerned, and sure. I don't know how you would handle it, is adding those properties in mm-hmm. does somewhat reduces the density number, but it doesn't really, because it's not a part of what you were developing in the first place. And someone did mention having the amenities on one side and having kids cross the street. Mm-hmm. we can.
Sure. One thing to highlight for you is we have included a commitment as part of our conditions to have a protective crosswalk at the intersection of Cardell and Old Alabama. Would be at our cost to install a protected crosswalk there. It was also referenced in the DOT comments that I saw as well. So
Yeah, but kids don't always.
kids are kids. I get it.
Kids don't always.
But that would be a problem whether there was
Yeah, true.
10 houses, 20 houses, or 90 houses here.
True. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think that's all I have at the moment. So,
Sure. Thank you for your questions.
I have some questions about how this would work if the option were available and if you exercise the option for a build-to-rent community. How does the HOA operate?
Essentially the same. It's part of the HOA responsibilities are absorbed as the responsibilities of the unified ownership and management of the neighborhood, except they're actually a little bit more, they're actually expanded so that all yard areas are then maintained. All normal functions of the homeowners association that you would typically see are absorbed by that management of it. So that's how that happens.
So does David Weekly have experience in build-to-rent communities?
The applicant's David Pearson, but
David
I
Pearson,
do the
I'm
same
sorry.
thing from time to time. Now, would he be the one? No, he would not be
Okay,
necessarily.
okay. So in your experience, since the applicant doesn't have that experience, would the both interior and exterior maintenance be handled by the,
Yes,
similar to an apartment?
yes, because they're leased properties. That's right.
Okay.
The houses that are built are the exact same houses. Sometimes even at a higher level because there's with rental. But yes, you don't get a lesser house. It's the same house.
And the, how, is going into it, do owners typically have an exit strategy to convert the property to individual ownership, or is their exit strategy to pass it along to the next owner?
No, individual lot sales would be prohibited because what you're trying to address and what you're trying to make sure doesn't happen in a situation like this is you don't want to have a heavy mixture. It's okay if some limited percentage is rented. We need to have. What we're trying to do is make sure you don't have that mix that's a heavier mix, a much heavier mix, which can be detrimental to a community. So for it to convert back to home ownership, they would have to convert the whole thing back to home ownership with a limitation of 10% rental. So you have to be one or the other. So if somebody wanted to do that, say you own this project 15 years from now, and you would have to then work your way out of the rentals to a point to be able to convert it, and you'd have to do that in concert with the city as well to handle that appropriately.
I guess I'm trying to, I can't imagine the situation in which the first person actually buys a house in a community which is completely rental.
Well, you wouldn't. That's my point.
Right.
That's not how it happens.
But how would 90 people buy a house simultaneously?
Well, it's you go through and you go through a process of vacancies until you can get to that point. It's just like you
Okay.
you have apartments that are converted into condos. Same kind of.
All right.
You've heard of a condo conversion, so
Right.
it's just on this scale instead of in a building. It's across there, so that's how that occurs. But again, I don't want to vote. Y'all have to ask the questions, and I'm glad you do. But I'm not trying to sell this, advocate, or persuade you to say this should be a build-to-rent or 100% rental community. That was an option. You certainly want to explore that. And purpose here is to have this as a for-sale community.
Right. Okay. I understand what you're saying. I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure I
Sure.
understood what the
Yeah, of course.
ramifications either way were.
I always appreciate your questions.
And I also just want to confirm that this isn't anything that was discussed at the community meeting last fall when you met with the community about
That
this?
aspect was not. There'd been the discussions, and we've been asked about the rental limitation specifically, and this was the developer's response. Okay, well, if we're going to do that, then let me have the option in case market conditions are such that I need to do it that way. An exit strategy that's one or the other.
Okay.
But again, I qualified it. If you otherwise think it's a great project except for that, I would request that you just leave that out.
And then one last question. I know the lots on the interior portion are a little bit wider than they were before.
Yes.
But the homes that are going to be placed on those lots also appear to be a little bit wider. We don't have dimensions of either,
Right.
but I'm just guessing that that's
Right, those
the
are the
case.
homes that were provided for the lots. That's correct.
Okay. So previously, the homes would have been 5 feet apart? And
Minimum. Minimum.
And now?
That's the same. The same minimum distance between homes. You've got wider lots and we have good products, so that's what they're trying to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. If we could go back to the RA5 requirement.
Sure.
So on average, a lot of the lot sizes do not meet RA5.
Correct.
And a variance was addressed.
Requested as a part of this plan, it would require that variance. That's correct.
Okay, and so if I heard this correctly, you said 50% of the lots do not meet RA5,
Correct.
correct? Okay, so you don't have a specific,
Not an exact,
okay.
but we have a plan which is precise to that extent. So yes.
Okay, I was just wondering, since, a variance was raised, if you had more specificity around that, but okay, just
Sure.
wanted to confirm that.
Of course. And the reason why RA5 was chosen was for density relational purposes. As a category, RA5 allows up to 5 units per acre, and we're under that. Categories such as RA6 allows up to 6 units per acre, but the lot sizes get smaller. That's why RA5 was selected, was because it related better to the single-family detached neighborhood, even though it does have requested variances.
I had a question. How long has David Pearson been in a business of home building?
The early 90s.
All right. And what are some of the communities? Are there any communities in the surrounding areas?
His communities have been, in the early 90s, it was beginning in Cobb County and has built several subdivisions and residential communities in Cobb, throughout Cobb, also in Cherokee, and then across North Metro and other locations, Paulding County, and so forth. So there's a number of them, of his communities. Powder Springs.
All right. The other question I have is, I know that some residents expressed concerns about the lack of play space. Would there be a consideration of building a neighborhood playground for the children?
Yes. Yes. We have a pool and a clubhouse that we're proposing as well, and there's room certainly to have a playground as part of that.
How about tennis courts or pickleball?
We
Would that
can,
be okay.
yeah, we'd certainly be happy to consider that as part of anything, to put that in.
Is the community more walkable or encourages walking? Because I know that there's a bus transit that goes, bus number 25, that connects people, and especially a lot of people are desiring walkable communities with access to transit. And I know that there's bus 25 that one of those roads that creates that access, would there be consideration of improving and even encouraging access in public transit?
We would have no objection to that. Of how that would occur as part of our plan, we would have no objection. We certainly want to improve connectivity for our residents. So we'd have no issue with that at all. We'd love to do that.
All right. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for your questions.
All right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just getting up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were.
In case you guys had any
Okay.
other questions.
There's something that I saw here that I wanted to make sure, and I think this is more of a staff question, and I think this is along the lines of stormwater. So in special conditions, number 2, it's speaking about the lots 21, I guess it's 21. And I think this is referencing a previous site plan because it's saying lots 92 through 101. But I think it's clearly lots, 81 through 90?
81 through 90.
So it's saying those lots are extended into the floodplain and stream buffers, and those lots, they should be at an elevation of about 18 feet or 18 inches above base flood elevation. But those lots are saying that they can't, because the lots are small, none of the lots in the area can be within the floodplain, which is below. So just out of curiosity, are you familiar with that? Because the reason I ask is because it seems like this is coinciding with staff recommendation to remove lots 81 through 90 if the planning commission decides to make a recommendation of approval. So that's why I'm asking that question.
So as of currently, I am not too familiar with that. As far as the stormwater comments, when it comes to the stream buffer, of the lots being basically like near the buffer or within the buffer, because then you're looking at as staff has recommended, and the planning commissioners and residents of this community have mentioned, that's typically like in a floodplain, so there is concerns about that. But as far as the stormwater comments, I cannot advise any further on Cobb stormwater management, mainly because, we typically get the recommendations and comments from them as far as what the concerns are. And if planning commission to them and ask them to further advise about what are more of the concerns on the lots.
Okay. This is more of a discussion point for planning commission. As I read through this, there's several things that stick out, but one of the things that I kind of went back to is DOT comments, where it was roughly about 800. I think it was additional 850 trips that would theoretically or potentially be placed into this particular area. And I know that there was sightline issues that need to be addressed, and this is a hazardous corridor. It is giving me to drop this many homes in this particular area. I still think the density issue is definitely an issue. I understand that the applicant mentioned it being a transition area, but I think I mentioned this before, that when you have low density already in the area from 1 to 2.5, and then we're dropping something that's, let's just round it up and say 4 is 3.89 or whatever. So let's just make it a whole 4. To me, that's not a transition. That's a jump. That's a huge jump in density to plop into that particular area. And it's giving me a lot of heartburn, regardless of if it's a rental or they own or purchase, it's still going to be 90 homes or 90 units, whatever the situation calls for. Okay. And the jury is still out on another detention pond. Okay. Okay. Were there any other discussion with regards to the application? Okay, so it doesn't appear to be any other discussion. So at this point, are we ready to entertain a motion for this particular application? Are we ready? Okay. You want me to make the motion? I mean, I can. There's no.
It's fine.
I can make the motion. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to recommend denial of this particular application. There are several reasons, several things that it's a lot of things that don't necessarily fit. One of the biggest ones is, again, it's that density going from, the future land use is low density residential and allowing for 1 to 2.5, and we're up to 3.9, or let's just say 4. And it's not, to me, that's not necessarily transition. It's just a jump. I think transition is kind of meeting somewhere in the middle.
If you want to just make a motion.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. So yes, I'll make the motion to recommend denial of the application. Do we have a second? Show that we have a second from Commissioner Meyer. I will open it for any other discussion before we take a vote.
Why don't you go ahead and finish the reasons for your
Thank
motion?
you. Yes. So again, it's dropping, and I'm really using very, what's the word that I want to use? I'm using basic language here, but it just putting a lot into a little, and it's trying to squeeze into a little. I think if for a transitional period, there's a way to meet in the middle, and we've been over this application, and true to form, it's come down from 101 to 90. So there's been effort to meet there. We're just not meeting at the same place. The density issues that the community has raised, those are real issues. The floodplain issues are real issues. The traffic issues are real issues. The safety issues are real issues. And listening to the community, and it gives me a lot of heartburn. So I'll stop there. If there's any other commentary or discussion before we take a vote.
I would echo many of the things that you just said. That there, as this case has worked its way along, and even though this is the first hearing of this application, this is not the first hearing of this project, because we saw the same application last fall or over the winter. I think that there's some, the applicants certainly made progress in the direction that we had hoped. I hoped that we would have more progress, that we would have lot sizes and lot widths that were in keeping with an RA5 neighborhood, that the future land use map, certainly I think we could stipulate the elimination of the build to rent option. We could stipulate the pickleball court, perhaps an even slightly larger dog. But I think we're dancing around the edge, and the edge really, for me, the two salient issues is that this does not meet the comp plan, it doesn't meet the ordinance, and there are too many unanswered questions about raised by the stormwater comments, and I regret very much that we from stormwater that we can ask those questions of. But I just cannot in all good conscience lend my support to a plan that, on the one hand, has lots which are being built up to being 3 feet above flood level, because that's not very many feet above flood level. And on the other hand, lots where, to my eye, they're not sufficient dimensions for sure, so I'm just having to guesstimate. But to my eye, over half the lot is unavailable to those property owners. And understand that we could put up that, the staff recommendation for the split rail fence, I think, is a good one. The signage on the fence, I think, is a good one. But I think that even though some people may not want a backyard and may be perfectly happy to back up to those woods and never want to put a trampoline in the backyard, I think we're setting up potential conflicts among neighbors as they try to operate their HOA and live together. So I regretfully have to support your motion for denial.
All right. Any other comment before we take a vote?
I have nothing to add.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work and effort and in trying to comply with some. It does not go unappreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? No? All right, I'm just asking. I just want to make sure everybody has the opportunity. It's up to you. So it's up to you. I'm not telling you have to. I'm just giving you the opportunity.
Hi, yes, I do believe that this will increase the desirability and value of the area. From the perspective of a lot of first-time home buyers, seeing there's a desire for quality, and I understand the concern is density, but I think with stipulations, we can work. Concern is that if we deny this, then it will be set a precedence for future developers to not look into Mableton. That's my concern. So.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right. Anything else? All right. So with that, the motion, it was seconded by Commissioner Meyer, and the motion was to deny. All in favor of denial, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Nakwi was lone opposition. The ayes have it. So, Mr. Moore, thank you. Really, thank you, because you've put in a lot of work with this. Again, I will reiterate that as a planning commission, we are not the final arbiters. This will go to mayor and council, and they will make they could rule the same way, or they could rule total opposite. It's going to be on their plate. But again, thank you, and I'm sure they'll let you know what you're with council. So thank you.
Yep, August 26th.
August 26th, thank you. So with that, we definitely spent quite a bit of time on that. It required the time, but we did. We'll move to item 6B. I guess it's RZ 2026-005.
Once again, good evening, distinguished planning commissioner. I still remain son of the city planner, city of Mableton this time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today is REZ 2026-05, and the applicant DP Acquisition LLC. Looking at rezoning the property in 630 Riverside Parkway Southwest from the light industrial LI district currently to an HI heavy industrial district.
Bless you.
And this is done to facilitate the development of a 10,000, 20, trying to development of a 10,800 square foot building that's going to be associated with outdoor storage areas for trucking and heavy equipment operations. The subject property consists of approximately 8.83 acres located at 630 Riverside Parkway within the city of Mableton. This map shows the zoning map.
Hold on, Mr. Sunday. Thank you.
So at the zoning map, we have the star sign shows the location of the property, and the current zoning is LI. This other map shows the location with the future land use as priority industrial area. And based on the future land use, and this is where the discrepancies come from, and after a further review by nation and interpretation of the future land use. So for the Cobb County adopted future land use, which we're currently using at the moment, the PIA does not support heavy industrial, only light industrial is compatible with the PIA, with the future land use. And what he allows as a subcategory under the compatible is it can only support light industrial, office, warehouse, and distributors only. However, in the Mableton Comprehensive 45, which is soon going to be adopted by the city's CCA, the subject site is under the workplace district, which supports heavy commercial and heavy industrial uses. So the Cobb County adopted future land use does not support it, but our future land use for the city of Mableton 2045, which will be adopted soon, actually supports this project. And it shows here on the Riverside Parkway as a workplace district. And this table shows what is acceptable, which is the green spot, what can be considered, and what is not appropriate. So the area map shows the site, and just to the west of the property, we have a residential zone district as well as a mobile home park, while the surrounding properties are all LI or HI zoning districts. And looking at this site plan, which was provided by the applicant, this area shows the stream buffer and the stormwater pond that's proposed by the applicant. And this is the building that was also proposed by the applicant. So we could see there's more than enough buffer from the residential property, which is over here, and the mobile home park, to the facility that's been proposed for the heavy industrial use. And this picture shows the elevation of the property. So we have the 6 criteria that we use to determine if this proposed rezoning is in compliance with the zoning standards of the city of Mableton. And the first question is whether the zoning proposal is in conformity with the policy and intent of the land use plans. Just based on our recent revelations, we say no, because the proposed HI zoning is inconsistent with the industrial compatible future land use designation based on the adopted Cobb County future land use. However, the Mableton Comprehensive Plan, as explained earlier, currently under review by the Department of Community Affairs and yet to be finally adopted, identifies the Riverside Parkway area to be a workplace district which allows heavy industrial use. So is the proposed use compatible with the surrounding properties? Yes, because it's surrounded by industrial facilities. There's just one R20 single family residential property sitting at the west of the property, but just based on the proposed layout that was provided, site plan provided by the applicant, that shows there's more than enough buffer and landscape vegetation to actually mitigate the effect or the adverse impact of the industrial activity on that property. Are there going to be any existing changing conditions supporting the request? Yes, the property is within the priority industrial area, and the HI district, however, is not supported currently based on the adopted future land use designation adopted from Cobb County. Will the request overburden public facilities or infrastructure? Basically, just based on the DOT recommendations, it shows that highlighted that the right-of-way do not meet required standards for the Riverside Parkway, but the DOT also stated that just based on the level of impact of that facility, it do not require a traffic impact study. And from the city staff, from staff analysis, based on the existing industrial facilities already in that area, support Riverside Parkway, we believe there is no major infrastructure that's going to be happening, and the public school district will not be affected by this development. Would the request adversely affect nearby properties? No. Just based on the natural buffers and landscaped proposal from the applicant, it won't be affecting any adjoining properties or adjacent properties, as adjacent properties to this development are also industrial compatible. Staff recommendation says that we recommend a denial of the applicant's request to rezone the subject property from LI to HI, and that's just because our current future land use map do not support heavy industrial in the industrial compatible areas under the PIA, which is the priority industrial area zoning classification. But if the Planning Commission determines that an approval of this request is warranted, staff recommend that the zoning be conditioned upon the applicant with strict compliance with the following zoning stipulations to actually mitigate the potential impacts and ensure compatibility with surrounding properties. So there's a caveat there, because technically, because of the current future land use we have, that's why we're saying no to this. But basically, that's why we have brilliant planning commissioners like yourself to make that determination just based on the scope as well as the level of the development and impact it's going to have on the environment. So we have 17 listed conditions, and we'll just let you guys read it through. And if you're looking at making any future adjustments to those conditions or adding more stipulations, you're also welcome, and you have the oversight powers to do that.
Thank you. The applicant is here, so I'm sure the applicant is in support of the application. Do we have anyone here that is in opposition to this particular application? Okay, let the record reflect that we do have one. So we'll ask the applicant to step forward to the podium, and you are free to begin whenever you're ready.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Parks Huff, the law firm of Sams Larkin Huff, and I represent the applicant. And my client is here and can answer more detailed questions that I'm not able to answer as the lawyer. He's a lot more familiar with his business. And I just wanted to stop here for a second, because I think this is one of the reasons why y'all wanted to be a city. Because I do not understand how you can have a priority industrial area that's also medium density residential. How do you have those two together? And we're priority industrial area. And then if you click down one below, which I didn't see that either. And when I was told that today, I was like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't even realize there was another layer, and it's industrial compatible. So I do not understand how any of that makes sense when the first term is priority industrial area. So I think you're heading in the right direction with your new comp plan that says this is a workplace center where this type of stuff happens. And that's very confusing to me. If I go to the next slide, and again, this is how you pick, I think, appropriate. You can see from the aerial, and I know you all very familiar with all the industrial activity there. big economic engine, jobs, opportunities there. Go to the next slide real quick here. And I thank you. I don't mean to. I wish I could control it, but I didn't want to be like barking orders. So this is the site here. There's some really good things about how it lays out. We have light industrial here with a use here. We have light industrial here, So actually heavy industrial over here. There is one R20 lot here. And as was pointed out, there is some good buffering here. And I note also, it's actually here. So this buffering is this way, but we have a generous buffer here. If you'd like to add a privacy fence along that southern property line on that section here, we're very comfortable with that. And then one of the things I wanted to point out is this has got an entrance off of Bob White, an entrance off the Parkway, and pavement surrounding both entrances, and then a parking area in front of the building. But then the remainder of the yard is more workplace center, I'll use that term, like what you have, where you might have, where it's gravel, you'd have, where trailers can be parked, where you might have some equipment, you might have some material that's temporarily there, some pipes and things like that. And your staff analysis and recommendation for approval actually deals with that. And item number 10, gravel parking shall be permitted only within designated equipment areas. And so that's, the staff has picked that up, and that is what we would be doing in those areas here. So I'm going to, and just for reference, this has now been developed, it's gravel. This has gravel area here. The up here has also gravel parking. So you have pads where you drive, but then where you have some of the more uses that might, quite frankly, what it is you don't want to rip up your asphalt every time. So the gravel is a better surface for that type of activity. So you already have those type gravel areas for that working. It's developed in your staff comments as number 10, and that's a long way to get to the question whether LI or HI is the appropriate category. We've gone through the list of uses, and actually we're fine with LI if you want to keep it LI, as long as we also can do the gravel parking as defined in number 10. And that is the only thing. And that would take care of the questions and concerns that you had last time at the work session about more like noxious fumes and things like that might come with heavy industrial. So I don't want to concede totally, but I kind of am. If you want to keep it LI and be consistent with Cobb's beautifully written comp plan that makes no sense why you'd have a priority industrial area with medium density residential, I don't know. But if you want to keep with that, keep the LI. It's as long as we can use the gravel as our work areas as defined in that number 10. Then all the uses under LI we're fine with, and then that would hopefully take care of the questions and concerns about you're going to be storing vats of chemicals or fumes and things like that. That wouldn't happen under the LI. So I appreciate your consideration. I appreciate the staff going through it. I think they did a great job, and I look forward to your recommendation. Again, we can answer any questions that you have. I'm glad to have the dialogue and any input into it we're open to. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And just so that we know, Mr. Sunday, how much time?
3 minutes, 52 seconds.
Okay. I know the applicant is here. I just wanted to check. You have 3 minutes, 52 seconds. If you wanted to step to the podium, you're not required. I'm just letting you know.
My name is John Young. I'm with SCP Acquisitions. I would like to just kind of further on what Park said, that when you look at the orientation of our site plan, our intention is to be the nicest building on this corner. The range of uses that we are wanting to accommodate, kind of go into how the building's oriented in the gravel surface. However, this is going to be a facility that I would put against anything else as you're coming down there. It's going to be a new facility. There's going to be a storefront. We expect it place for there to be employees or customers to pull up to the front of that building, but really see the value in being able to provide a service-oriented business on this corner. So I think it's a great place, and would love to be able to have do this.
Thank you. I'll ask anyone else in support of this application. Okay. So with that, we know that we have one in opposition. Step to the podium, state your name, and
I'm right over there.
I'm going to say District 99.
Okay, let's take that. Sonia Wheatley, Mableton Improvement Coalition again. Interestingly, so again, representing the coalition, but I'm going to have two hats on this one. One, I truly appreciate them saying they're willing to do LI. That was really the big battle. The Mableton Coalition is recommending approval for, we went with LI, but we really HI, but we really wanted LI. That was the burr. And the only request that we had is that there, be buffering against there is a mobile home park. It's residential. So we have a 50-foot buffer to the west, potentially some limited hours if that's possible, given the hours that were proposed. 6 to 8 during the week, 8 to 6 during the weekend, just to be respectful. Again, it is weird. It is priority industrial, but there are still people that live there currently. So just getting, respect to that if that's a possibility. So again, HI with the ability to park on gravel would be amazing. That's the Sonia Mableton Improvement Coalition hat. The Sonia personal hat is that along these points, we really need to find a way to discern light industrial, heavy industrial, and let's just call it crappy use. The heavy manufacturing, leaking, auto, broken down. Guys, this is a river. How long have we lived in Georgia and known that we have poisoned everything south of Atlanta? We need to find a way to figure that out. I understand industrial, this use is at all inappropriate. Leave auto repair or truck repair? I may be wrong, but there is an appropriate use and it has been designated for industrial, but it can't be our toilet. We just saw what happened when Atlanta does what Atlanta does and kills everything from find a way to respect the waters. We're not doing that by putting chemical manufacturing and by putting in uses that are leaking dangerous chemicals downstream. So I'm in support of this personally and on behalf of Mableton Improvement Coalition, but it's time to draw a line, guys. We just can't keep going this way. We need to figure it out. That's all I have, but for this one, a couple conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. As a matter of course, is there anyone else that in opposition to this case? Doesn't appear that there's anyone else. So at this time, we'll close the public comment portion for this particular case, and we will open it up for discussion amongst the planning commissioners. So, I'll kick it off. And it'll probably be more of a staff question. So I did have the opportunity to go visit the proposed site. Go down Riverside Parkway. Once you go past Six Flags in the epicenter, there's a lot of office parks, and then as you move past industrial type businesses. So with what you just presented, I think I'm slightly confused now, more now than I was before. So Cobb County's designation is LI or but the Mableton comp plan is heavy industrial.
So the way the PIA works is there are subcategories under the PIAs.
Right.
So we have PIAs that allow MDR, just based on, because how Cobb County did their own the future land use in-house. So they looked at existing structures and they worked with what they saw that was existing. They didn't create anything magically. So they found out in some industrial areas, pending before they even had a zoning, people that have actually built factories here in the 60s, in the 50s and 40s, they had to work with what they saw and the resources that was on ground and had to create a realistic plan to feed purpose. There was medium density residentials in those areas, so they made a PIA MDR subcategory. Then there was a CAC where they had commercial activities. They made a PIA CAC. Then the PIA-IC means industrial compatible, meaning it's compatible with industrial, but we still want to field residential and field office and institution around it. But there was a PIA industrial. So the PIA industrial is what can actually take every industrial. And we have some of those where there's PIA industrial as the subcategory. So then their property fell under the PIA industrial compatible category subsection. That's why we can't approve it from a
Mm-hmm.
If it fell under the PIA industrial, then it will be a forgo for manufacturing uses. And you can find this PIA around Oakdale. There's a few scattered PIA industrial zone in the city of Mableton.
Okay. But when we look at the Mableton 2045 comp plan, that's more of a HI, is what's being proposed in the comp plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So our comp plan, and the great thing we did at comp plan is we now looked at what was currently amenable, because what they did was they went around and they actually went on ground to see what is actually amenable in today's existing environment in the city of Mableton. So they looked at the situation report of what is on ground today, and they worked with what they could get. Better placemaking situation for us in the city of Mableton. So what they found is this area is a work development area where people can actually work and also have access to live in the residential suburbs north of the city. Was determined to be a workplace district to accommodate strictly industrial, heavy commercial activities where people can live, work, as well have access to open space, as well as parks. It's close to the entertainment district, which is 11. So all this area is the entertainment district, which is the Six Flags, and all this is the workplace district. So it's more like a placemaking situation where people could come from home, have some enjoyment and entertainment in the workplace district, as well as work in this. Traffic is contained all through the week.
Okay.
As against having different workplace districts scattered around, that affects traffic around the city.
And as far as uses are concerned, is there, as we balance between the existing Cobb comp plan and the Mableton 2045 comp plan, is there, from staff's perspective, is it better to leave it as LI, or does it, or going to HI, does it open it up for uses that may be a little in the future?
Well, that question is probably way above my pay grade. The director, who could give a more executive.
Especially since it's been proposed to leave it at LI and with gravel. So I'm just trying to understand, like, if we go with H that are questionable, or is it better to leave it at LI and maybe eliminate those questionable uses, things that may not be environmentally safe or friendly, so that's what I'm trying to make sure that I understand.
Answer for you. And of course, it's super late in the game. I did reach out to Mr. Parks, Mr. Huff, earlier today to see if there was a letter of agreeable conditions where he would put together a list of HI uses that would be restricted. I think you are looking at either option. It's either an LI zoning with allowance, but I don't know that you can add uses. If a use isn't allowed in LI, you can't add that via stipulation, and I'll defer attorneys on that one, but that I haven't seen. I've definitely seen you zoning something HI and then restricting it to only, even only the uses they've asked for, only the parking of the trucks or automotive repair, whatnot. I asked my staff earlier today, that quick answer, in my head, HI is more intense, LI is less intense. However, there is LI. There are uses in LI that aren't necessarily better than the uses in HI. Like, would you rather it be truck parking, or would you rather it be multiple small auto repair shops? So there's not an easy answer there. I do think you drove out there. I drove out there today. There's some nice office parks out there. Yes. I do think I'd like to see out there. The workplace district is looking for industrial businesses, office parks. We definitely want nice architecture. What Cobb County approved across the street is what I just pulled up right now. With a brick front with gravel. So Cobb County did allow gravel parking, it appears, because it's right across the street, in the LI zoning district. So there might be an allowance for you to stipulate that the LI is allowed, but allow the parking restricted to the storage area. So I do believe you could do that. Because of the comp plan, you are definitely in a position to deny a heavy industrial, because our staff recommendation guided on the adopted comprehensive plan. The only reason why we pulled the 2045 was to look at the comparison, because, up till yesterday, we were talking that it was consistent with the comp plan. And so all that to say, you guys are the planning commission. You have support to vote for just LI. If you wanted to see something HI, an HI. Category. We may also need more time, if you are on the fence, to pull or call a real list of uses of what could be allowed, or we can ask additional information from the applicant. He said today mainly the issue is the gravel parking. When I was talking to staff earlier today, we were talking about heavy truck repair. If that use isn't on the table, then maybe it is an LI with an allowance for gravel parking, but maybe there's additional uses that we work towards before we get to council, because we do have another month before the final council decision to stipulate some additional uses. So all that saying LI with an extra allowance would probably be best. I'm not a fan of the gravel parking if it can be avoided. I'd rather see more jobs, more building than outdoor storage. I don't know that that's the look that Mableton's looking for, but there right now.
Right. Okay. And I'm asking with regards to uses, because I'm sensitive to the fact that there's a R20 lot right there, and then there's a mobile home. So regardless of how people feel about the mobile home park, people do live there, and so make sure that the residents are protected. Although it's an area where you have some residential that backs right up to industrial. So to me, it's kind of a funky area where people live, and it's all this industrial taking place right behind them.
It is. And you have a good buffer, especially since the detention pond is there. And if you wanted to consider additional hours of operation, I think that would be a good decision as well.
Yes. Okay. This is open for discussion. I just needed that clarification, but I don't want to commandeer the whole thing.
I would ask if we could have an official rendering of a legal opinion as to whether or not we can approve LI with the addition of a gravel parking lot. Is that an option that's available to us?
That's for you, counsel.
Yeah. As long as it's not, what you're not going to be able to do is, just permit a use that's not permitted in a district by stipulation.
Okay.
So if it's something that's permitted, or in this case, if it's gravel, that might sound like it's a variance. You would just, if you had no gravel parking lots, then you might be allowed to give a variance to allow a gravel parking lot there.
Okay.
But what you couldn't do yet is permit a use outside of whatever distinction you're giving it.
Okay. Okay. Then in that case,
Sure.
Okay, so we've been talking about what we think you want. So is the issue the gravel parking lot?
Yes. And so, I'm backing into that. I think the best way to handle it would be to recommend LI with the addition of allowing that gravel yard as shown on the site plan and as defined in item number 10 in there. That would be what we would like.
Okay. And have you read all the staff recommendations? All of those? One additional thing that I brought up at our work session had to do with a prohibition on any sort of mechanical repair outside, that would all be done in the building. I don't believe that's in the staff recommendations, but would you be amenable to that?
As far as like a heavy automotive repair, or I think.
You can step to the podium, please.
What I would not want our future tenant to be, in violation of the code is, if a guy does have a truck and he's fixing it, right, then that's something where it's kind of a utilitarian, it's a yard of storage, but, does that put us in a place of where we're not, we're going to do, because that our intention is to do what we're supposed to do, right? But I think the flexibility to maintain equipment or materials on the yard is important. I would say that similar to stations as far as having like loud mechanical activities in those hours that are restricted is something we're very comfortable with, but waiving that altogether is something that we're uncomfortable with.
I have a, because I think
Solutions are good.
I think, and I think what I would say is if the primary use is repair, it will be done inside. If it's a supplemental use, and what you're talking about is, if you got a tire that blew, it needs to be replaced outside. Because let's say it's a contractor that's doing landscaping in their truck. We don't want to be dinged for replacing the tire outside. But I understand what you're saying is if its business is truck repair, it's going to be done inside.
I think primarily, right? It's also, I'm not trying to split hairs here, but just honestly, I think that we have no problem with there being some stipulation about, like the talking about, right? Like, hey, we don't want a bunch of broken down cars piled up on the corner. I don't know the right way to craft the language for that. Like, that's not our intent, but I think we need to be able to work in the yard during business hours, as long as we're not, as long as it's not looking like a junkyard. And that's a not sophisticated way to say that, but that's our intention and what we would need.
Okay. But my concern is the kind of repair that might release fluids. So engine overhauls, hydraulic systems, all that stuff that leaks through the gravel, that the rain carries to your detention pond and eventually to the river. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would be looking for you all to find a way to describe how that won't happen.
And what I would ask is that we've got plenty of time between now and mayor and council language that addresses that concern. And having on the Chattahoochee through Atlanta, from Roswell through Atlanta, 100 miles, I'm with you on the Chattahoochee.
Okay. And the hours of operation, I believe the staff report was 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Is there and I think we had a suggestion for
6 to 8.
6 to 8?
6
Yes.
to 8 during the week and 8 to 6 during the weekend.
On the weekend, yep.
Yeah.
That'd be hours of operation, or would that be the loud activities outside that would?
Loud activities outside.
I'd be comfortable with that.
So the building could be operated, but
Right.
no noise, no real noise. Okay.
So point 13, that was loading and unloading and heavy truck dispatch activities within the outdoor storage yard. We can adjust those hours to be limited to 6 to 8 during the week and 8 to 6 during the weekend. Mm-hmm. Okay. Robin, are you suggesting that anything happening inside of the building that can fall within? the operating hours listed in point 13?
Yes.
Okay.
So just a quick question, just to interject, to Robin's point, or Commissioner Myers' point, excuse me. When I look at elevation, and I think I asked this question before, where I see, at least at the angle that's being presented right now, there's 4 bay doors, and I was asking, was it just going to be those 4 bay doors, or would the bay doors, would it be around the building minus the front, because I can see the front door right there? Asking because for this particular situation, I understand this is an industrial area. We don't want it to turn into a junkyard look or feel, and that's why I'm asking, well, how many bay doors will you have? Because if you have those, let's say, if it's 4 there, and the other sides of the building, that's potentially anywhere between 8 and 12 bay doors. And so if you're doing business where you can't get everybody in the bay doors, that's great, but the hope is that the building will support the use and not necessarily have people outside working on stuff. And that's why I want to understand more the elevation.
So there's actually going to be 4 doors on the building.
Okay, so that's 12 because minus the front door.
8.
So, okay.
Yes,
So,
side and 4 on the opposite side,
Right.
not on the ends.
So you
Okay.
can drive through.
gotcha. So you'd have basically 8 bay doors in one side, out the other side.
That's right. So we consider them really 4 work bays. And so just the ability to pull the equipment in, and then instead of having to back that up, if there's something behind there, it pulls through and out the other side.
Okay. And again, I'm asking the question because I want to make sure that even though it's an industrial site, that it's over time it's not degraded, that there's the opportunity, or that we give it the best opportunity for it to maintain a clean look. And so if you have 8 bay doors in one side, out the other, that means you can pull vehicles in. I would stand to say that based on this elevation, you can get more than 1 vehicle in there at a time. You can pull 2, 3, maybe 4 vehicles in there. So that would be a lot of space.
That's right. So we designed the building to where you could pull a tractor trailer truck in and close the doors, and it would be inside the building. And so that's how we got the width and the dimensions and the circulation aspect. And so it's not always, whereas it's not impossible, our customer here would have vehicles, but larger vehicles inside.
Okay.
Are you planning to provide a site plan with like landscaping?
We can, and it will certainly be all part of the land disturbance process and having to make sure that we meet code for landscaping and buffers and stormwater and all the engineering aspects. So that will 100% be something that we will provide. I have some colored versions of the site plan that actually provide a little bit better visual that we'd be happy. I don't know if we're allowed to hand those out.
Hand it to staff, please.
And I ask because in the Mableton comprehensive plan, there were references to landscape improvement and the like. Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I will. Sometimes the colored version just is a little easier.
Oh, step back. And the reason I'm saying step to the podium is because we do have an audience online. When you step there, they can't see and then they can't hear you. So
Makes sense. I was just saying I wish we would have submitted the colored version. Have it at the time, and so contrast helps put things in a little bit better perspective and just jumps off the page a little better.
okay.
Proposing that you will be installing all these trees that surround it, correct?
That's right, and these are already in areas where there will be undisturbed areas. So, like Mr. Sunday, the stream buffer that will be undisturbed, And then there will also be undisturbed along the R20 line to the, kind of planned south on the site. There will be undisturbed between us and the container yard up top here. Installing landscaping all along Bob White and Riverside Parkway to meet code.
And I believe you mentioned you're installing some type.
So we would anticipate installing a black chain link fence around the property as a security fence. And then earlier that we'd be happy to install a privacy fence along this kind of this corner area here adjacent to the R20. We could also provide site plan to staff and the commissioners that show the distances between our actual lot lines and our adjacent neighbors. And
So with the chain link fence, have you ever thought about wrought iron, or maybe wrought iron in the areas where it's visible from the road?
we have not typically done that. I think, most of the time installed a black vinyl chain link fence. I don't have a different answer for you, but.
Yeah, okay.
And would this lot be, would it be gated, secured?
It would.
Okay, and what kind of fence would?
It's a black vinyl chain link fence
Okay.
all the way around. We'd anticipate like an 8-foot tall fence with 2 sets of gates, one at each entrance, but it'd be fully secured.
Okay, and I think we discussed lighting in the work session. My concern is just making sure the lighting points away from the residential areas that are adjacent, which I think.
I think all of it's code, but we would certainly meet that. Fixtures that are directional, and then we'll have to provide a photometric plan that actually calculates the foot candles in each spot across the site. And so there'll be this site plan with 100 different little dots with the lighting on it. And typically we'll get that from Georgia Power and also our electrician and part of the land disturbance permit process. So staff make sure that we're not polluting light pollution outside of our lot, but that's typical for us.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So I'd like to come back to the fencing. The staff recommendation number 6 says that the outdoor storage area will be enclosed by an 8-foot opaque security fence in Riverside Parkway with a minimum 10-foot landscape buffer. So I would interpret that just to mean that applied on your on this colored version of the drawing around the gray area of the drawing. So then would there be fencing outside of that as well?
So the way that we would intend and open to discussion would be to fully fence the property with a black vinyl chain link fence. It's about 8 feet tall. And then we would anticipate putting a windscreen along that fence line, probably on both of the sides. And then, but the thing that we want to be a little bit careful of is not completely blocking the front door of the business from the road, because the idea of putting a big tall wooden fence around the whole property, thinks, okay, well, that's going to screen it. Well, it also makes it, if you don't do it correctly and if you can't really see into the property, then it creates this mysterious, like, well, what are they hiding back there? And it kind of looks sketchy, really,
Right.
for lack of a better word. So we would want to be able to screen as much as possible, but that frontage really along Bob White Road and Riverside Parkway, all right here, we feel that it's important for the storefront and the parking to be visible here and show, like, hey, this isn't just a fenced storage operation. Like, there's a business here and you can walk up and receive service at this building.
Yeah, I was going to tell you
It
something.
won't be doing a wood fence because Commercial grade have two major materials, which is the chain link and the steel rod.
Right, I will, it didn't make sense to me that we would put an opaque fence in front of the building.
Right.
So but since you're going to gate the property, there's got to be some kind of fence in front of the building. So that's where I'm pretty fairly confused, is where the opaque and the unopaque fence ends. And so I guess where I would be going with this confusion is that since we,
Yeah, but I'd really like to do it outside the driveway though, probably. Either or.
Since this body meets again before the city council meets, I think we have an opportunity to use some of these questions, perhaps give you the opportunity, Mr. Huff, to write a stipulations letter that memorializes all these things that we're talking about. And I think the staff recommendations would be a great jumping off point.
In addition to, I think you said you mentioned that you would provide a site plan that shows the measurements and, distance and so on and so forth. That would, in my opinion, I think that would be great to show that detail. And since the color version wasn't available, if you that on the color version,
Sure.
to kind of give the vision some give it color and give it a little bit more life and make it that much more plain for us, so that way we can really get a vision of what's inside your head, and it makes it that much more clear and plain for us to see. Makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the gravel lot are we to assume all of this is gonna be gravel? Oh, I'm sorry, it's on, but I'm not. Okay. So what area will the gravel lot be going?
It's basically, so
Everything?
you see the
All this?
orange building, and then you see apron, and
this
then
here.
you see the asphalt that would be hard surface. The rest would be a compacted aggregate base.
All of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Thank you, guys. If you don't mind having a seat, please. So as a body, I think we made really good progress with this particular case, although there are some questions that still need to be answered and things that need to be visualized for us. I don't know that we're ready to make a recommendation one way or the other. And I think with staff presenting Cobb as well as Mableton comp plan, I think that, in my opinion, muddied the waters just a little bit. So I think we can take the opportunity to get a bit more understanding. I think as a body, we can recommend deferral to our next Planning Commission meeting, which would be August 6th. Yes, I think, yeah, August 6th. I would be in favor of that. I wouldn't necessarily say shoot it down. Our questions that we have are strong enough to shoot this down. I think it's just more clarification and getting things codified, if you will, in stip letters, and so that way we can make that's kind of where I am right now.
I think that'd be a good idea, because I think I think personally I'm in favor of this, in favor of finding a way to approve this, but I think we're kind of trying to get conditions out of the air, and I think there's danger in that.
On the fly.
Agreed.
Thank you. Anything else?
Agreed.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm sorry.
So, planning commissioners, if I can interject for one moment.
Sure.
I want to make sure that I had something that was stated by Commissioner Meyer and Commissioner Blunt.
Yes.
As far as the hours of operation. Just to be sure, we're saying weekdays from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and weekends from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Correct. I think
Yes.
that was for, like,
Yes.
is that
Outside
correct?
Heavy use,
Right.
yes.
Right.
So the limiting hours, that, I want to make sure that was point 13.
Yes.
Those are the hours.
Yes.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
so my understanding is that building at 2 a.m. They just can't be outside unloading trucks,
Okay.
driving around.
Outside activities.
Outside activities would seem
Right.
to me to be driving around trucks.
Of operation are 6, so they're not.
That the loading and unloading and heavy truck dispatch outdoor activities within the property shall be limited to the hours of 8 a.m., the hours I stated before.
Yes.
So is that where we're looking to that stipulation?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from staff or legal? No? Okay. Then I'd like to make a motion to defer this application until our next meeting in August to allow us the opportunity to craft some stipulations and the applicant to nail some few other things down. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. Commissioner Blunt, any other discussion before we take a vote? No further discussion? All right, all in favor of deferring, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. So this will be deferred to the next meeting. So applicant and representative, thank you guys, we appreciate it. So now, I know it's getting late, so nothing else on the agenda. Again, thank you guys. I know it's a holiday weekend. And you're doing a lot of different things. So thank you guys for being here and sticking it out. Was there anything else that needed to be raised before we adjourn from Planning Commission or staff or legal? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Davis. Any discussion? I didn't think so. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Not the ayes have it.